Fireworks is another program by Adobe, and it is a graphics editing program that is similar to Photoshop. However, where Photoshop is more geared towards editing photos, Fireworks is more geared towards creating images for the web. Okay, so when you open Fireworks, this is what it looks like. And to open a new one or create a new one, you're going to do Create New. This is the welcome screen. If you X'd out of the welcome screen, you can always go to File and New. Remember that there's always multiple places to get a new document. We're going to start off with a width of 750, no, a width of, sorry, 600 and a height, we'll just do a height of 600 too. Then you have a resolution of 72 pixels per inch, and we're going to make it a white canvas color. And click OK. All right, so here we are. We have our stage or our screen. The white area is what becomes the image. We have our toolbar over here, and it is broken down, the tools, into the types of tools they are. We have our selection tools, which is the pointer. And notice that it has a slightly different name here. It's called the pointer. And if you hold it down, because there's a little triangle there, you notice that there is another tool docked behind it. You have the white arrow, which is, in essence, it's your sub-selection tool. If you mouse over, it tells you what it is. It tells you not only the tooltip, but also a keyboard shortcut for getting it. Here is your crop tool. And if you actually had something on your stage, whoops, I do have something, but it's white, then this tool right here is going to allow you to scale, skew, distort, or do 9-slice scaling, okay? Then we break it down into our bitmap. And remember, bitmap is where you have just lots of different little pixels, like a photograph, okay? So it gives you the ability to do selection tools, just like in Photoshop, okay? So if I imported a photo, and let me find one to import. And by the way, you can import Photoshop files as well, or JPEGs. And so when I import, I put it there, and just like in Photoshop, if I make a selection, and notice that in Photoshop we had options up here, but here in Fireworks we have our properties panel down here. So it changes based on the tool that you have selected. So with that marquee, elliptical marquee, or not elliptical, rectangular marquee, I have the ability to make it normal, fixed ratio, or fixed size. I can make a hard edge, feather the edge, and I can make it a specific size. Okay, so if I go up here and I make a selection, obviously I can copy and paste. And when I copy and paste, there's the duplicate. Okay, I'm going to just move that off to the side. If I come back here onto this one, and I need to use my layers to make sure I am on the right one, I can use that again, and I can go up to my select menu, select inverse, and delete everything outside of it. Okay, so similar features to Photoshop. Command D is not deselect. You have to hit escape to do deselect. You also have your lassos, lasso and polygon, magic wand. Here we have the brush tool. Notice with the brush tool, if you come down here in the properties, you have the ability to choose a color. You have the ability to choose a different kind of stroke. And there's some interesting ones, okay? So if we start off with a basic hardline stroke, that's basically what you get. But as you make your way down the list, notice that you have things like, and sometimes it requires a bigger brush for you to see it, we have calligraphy. Whoops, what happened there? Calligraphy. Well, Okay, I'm not sure what happened to my last one. We have crayon. We have pencil. We have watercolor. We also have random. And look, we have confetti, dots, fur, squares, yarn. Okay, so you have all sorts of different effects with your brush tool. And finally, you have unnatural. And look, you have 3D, 3D glow, chameleon, fluid splatter, outline, paint splatter. Oops, I didn't mean to let go of that. We have toothpaste, toxic waste, and viscous alien paint. So depending on what colors you have selected, you have different options there as well. Okay, so that's under the brush tool. Pencil tool. Pencil tool is very basic. Okay, you are simply using the pencil tool to draw. Eraser. You have the ability to change the size and the edge of an eraser. So anything that you draw that you don't like, you can erase part of it. Next we have our blur, sharpen, dodge, burn, smudge. These again are similar to the same tools in Photoshop. So if you wanted to dodge, I think that's the one I chose, I already forgot. Nope, burn, okay. And dodge will lighten it up, burn will darken it. Those are your options for doing so. We have the rubber stamp tool. Rubber stamp tool is kind of neat because if I hold down the Option key or Alt key and click, I can then give my subject a third eye. You can see where it's tracing it. My poor cat. Okay. Also under there, you have the ability to get rid of red eye and replace color. Okay, so all tools to work with. Then we go down into our vector graphics. And vector graphics, remember, is items that allow you to scale it and still keep the same quality. So we have a line tool. And again, with the line tool, you have the ability to change the color, change the stroke size, change the type of line that you would like. Okay. I'll choose charcoal. And the edge, you have the ability to also adjust the texture. So if I decided that, I'm going to actually put this back on basic hard line. I'm going to put it up at 20. If I wanted to add one of these textures like argyle, I could increase the amount of texture and, whoops, and there's my line. Okay, now if I decrease the texture to half, that's what happens. And if I move that slider up and down, I can adjust what that line looks like. Okay. Here we have the pen tool. We have different shapes, and notice that there are a lot of different shapes, not just rectangle and ellipse and polygon, but you have some pre-made ones like the arrow, arrow line, etc., etc. Okay, and every time you choose something, you have the ability to alter it based on your properties. Again, you have fill and you have stroke. Notice that you have the ability to put a texture not only on your stroke, but also on your fill. Whoops. And whenever you don't, like let's say right here, I don't want to have any texture, I just set it down to 0. Okay. So then I can make a star and, oops, I didn't actually want a stroke. And now I can see those bars inside that star. Okay. Below that, oh, whoops, I'm not done. Text. Again, you have all of your properties for your text. Also, once you start typing text, and that is white, you can then use your pointer tool to select it and notice that you have the ability to put a stroke on it. Okay, that's not the prettiest color combination, I admit. You also can reverse it right there. Here we have some freeform reshape, which I don't actually use it that much, but it's good to know where that is. And then we have our web tools. Okay, so right here we have ability to put in a rectangular hotspot. Hold it down. We have circle and polygon also. Hotspot is what allows you to put to get the finger when you roll over it, like on the web. Okay. Right next to that, we have the slice tool and the polygon slice tool. This also puts hotspots on your page. And then finally, your colors. The eyedropper allows you to select a color from anywhere, okay, whether it be in somebody's eye, on a cat's fur, background, or a color you have already put on your page. You have your fill color, okay, and you have, or sorry, that's not your fill color, that's your paint bucket. Also with your paint bucket is your gradient tool. Then below that you have your stroke color, your fill color, your default colors, the ability to make something transparent, and then swap your stroke and fill. Here you can move, if you had a large document, I don't have a large document, but if I zoom in, there, okay, the hand tool. The zoom, ability to zoom in and out. And then you have different views here. You have your standard screen, which is usually what I work in, full screen with menus and full screen mode. Okay, so the only other thing that I want to show you is filters. So let's say, for example, and this doesn't have to be on text, it can be on a shape that you create as well. But here under filters, you have several filters that you can choose from. Adjusting the color, bevel and emboss, and in fact I will do an emboss on that star. And then you have settings that go with it. You can apply more than one to it, or one filter to it. You don't have to have just one. And then if you don't like it, you hit the minus. If you want to edit it, you hit the I. You can do the same to text as well, okay, and alter it, drop shadow, and change it up there.